Yes, a warm welcome to you here for Satsang, and a warm welcome to all the friends that join us today around the world online. Our personal state and personal experience colors the world, doesn't it? We just finished a wonderful couples retreat, 7 days in Surya, and something so natural and simple and yet so profound shifted, I would say almost in everyone, in every couple that was there. And for me to witness it as I'm part of it is so incredibly touching and wonderful, and I kind of feel I was a total participant there, that also influenced very much my seeing of reality. Sometimes we speak wise words and we discover everything is kind of one or is part of the divine, and it is somehow an undercurrent, especially for many meditators here. There is an undercurrent of consciousness, of presence, of silence. There's perhaps much less attention to the person or to the personality or to the egoic structure that seems to run our life when we are not so present. And then there are these waves, and for me that has been such a wonderful, gentle and very deep wave of unveiling reality again and again and again and again and again. And in that unveiling, everything looks more bright, more shining, more loving, more accepting, more friendly. And this beautiful contrast, like 7 days in a retreat where couples don't fall in love anymore, but they rise in love, is incredibly beautiful. And it's kind of like a space that is actually available for everyone when they dare to follow love rather than their mind. And today, this beautiful contrast. And the last day my son called me, and there was not only one disaster, but 3. The first disaster was our water tank was empty even though it was raining. And we had no idea what was happening. The second disaster was the bore water pump to irrigate the garden broke down. And the third disaster was that accidentally, instead of the chemicals that were needed for the pool, this poor pool got a dose of petrol. And it was, in a way, so beautiful to see that, I mean, shit happens, right? And yet, whether it affects our ego structure and kind of pulls us down into stress, into survival. Oh my God, how quickly can I fix this and that and that? And today I enjoyed all the practical stuff from the moment it started to the end, digging in mud and repairing pipes and installing pumps. And of course I didn't get finished, so when the first guests came tonight I was still in mud. And an underlying joy in this whole thing, because existence just offers all sorts of strange situations that come and go, and it's kind of the very test, in a way, for an inner recognition, a test that which we truly are can never go, it can never be disturbed. Take a breath. Don't believe me. One of the things which we're going to again repeat or explore through our soma is that very simple, it's not even an exercise, it's kind of a direction that is available to us every moment when we, just like I talked about it in the Tantra retreat, when we leave our shoes outside the door, to not just leave the shoes, to leave all our stories, because the stories are past. They're not wrong, they're beautiful, they're like a wonderful movie, but we don't need to look at the movie at the present moment. We can allow that the movie of the mind to wait outside, and we can allow it to let the emotions that maybe are triggered through any life situation to wait outside. We can allow every definition we have about ourselves. And do you notice that? Like, your definition changes during the day according to the different roles we take. So when I came down and my beautiful friends came, I said, Rahasya is not here yet. You just meet the working guy. Rahasya will come later. And there's a strong reality in this, because we take so many roles, and the only difficulty is when we think, or when we really attach to the role and think, this is me, and this me can only survive if this and this and this and this is done. At least that used to be my pattern. No? Okay, I can only relax when this is done. Well, maybe not. Maybe that which is aware of all of this wonderful show is always here. Always. Sometimes it's very much in the foreground and the colors look more bright. And sometimes it's this hum in the background that internally smiles when your whole personality structure is freaking out. Does anybody have that experience? It's like, it's almost illogical. You feel, actually I should be totally kind of upset and angry and frustrated and hopeless and helpless and lonely. And while this movie runs, there's this place that giggles. Anybody relates to that to sometimes? No?
It takes awareness, though.
It takes awareness. well, or let's say it doesn't take much, it only takes to be present. And what I learned again through the couples group is not only in couples, but when we look at what do we want in life, that everything that we want in life is actually available within the total presence of now. And in the case of the couples, it was love and intimacy, and it just happened. Not because we wanted love and intimacy, but because the container somehow offered a possibility of presence, not just individual, but more and more as a sangha, as a group. And then it doesn't matter what we are present to. When you're totally present to the deepest misery in you, there's joy. That sounds illogical, but it's like this. Does anybody have a glimpse of that, or am I just rambling about?
It's the cosmic joke.
Yeah, but even calling that is already an interpretation. No? But before the interpretation, we enjoy. Or that which we are enjoys, let's say. Mm-hmm. Can you relate to...
Where the laughter comes from. It's just that moment.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's the sensation.
Yeah.
It is the laughter.
Yeah.
It's just joy.
Yeah. And when we follow that from the logic of things, then we don't need to change anything. It changes from within. And in the change from within, that how we wanted the world to respond actually happens naturally. I don't know, maybe it was my imagination, but I felt today all the people that were kind of helping me with the pump and the buying, they were so extremely friendly and tried to do much more than I actually asked for. So, oh. Right. And then in these moments, that what we're going to explore through the quintessence today somehow becomes so obvious. Yeah? And it became also obvious in the couples retreat that everything, and especially everyone, is an embodiment of the divine. Cannot be differently. There's nothing else than the divine, than that which is prior to all content. Who is that? I am that. I'm prior to everything that I can be aware of. Are you following that? And just because we cannot see it, we cannot smell it, because it's not objective, the eye is not an object, we overlook it each time we say I. So maybe a helpful practice is each time you hear yourself I, ask yourself, what am I referring to? Am I referring to my ego structure? To my personality that has the conditioned responses and reflexes? Or am I referring to that which is aware? And you will find, even when you refer to the ego structure, the awareness of it arises and you drop into your true self. Could you follow that? It's too simple for the mind. Awakening is too simple for the mind. Well, especially for the friends around the world or here, if that is provocative, I'm happy about that. Please, then you can, Steve is here today, so you can ask questions, you can write questions, and perhaps we can answer one or two questions. But before that, let's take it a little deeper. Maybe we wait to have a look. Maybe the person is too shy to come in here. It's Sabine. Welcome. Welcome, Sabine. So tonight I want to share with you an Arasoma quintessence that we also used yesterday, called Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara. And Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara, they seem to be masters. Now this sounds very esoteric and not so much down to earth, but it's kind of a beautiful pointer to what is more real. Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara are master essences, masters that have not embodied themselves. So they represent the divine masculine and the divine feminine in everyone. Just look around for a moment. Just look at all the friends here. Can you see the goddess? You know, behind the form, can you see the divine essence behind the form? We just need to change our way of looking for a moment. And suddenly, you know, we see that tiny or great spark behind the eyes. At first, maybe there's the veil of the old me. And then when we look from that possibility, when we look from divinity, all you see is divinity. No? Yes? And for me, this is, I'm the first time, I think, in 23 years, I'm here in spring. And my God, what is God creating here, or goddess, or divine, or existence, whatever you call it? Did you see when you came here, you were walking over a violet carpet? I've never seen this. I mean, I've seen a few violet flowers, but suddenly it's carpeted walking, and violet is kind of healing vibration. So you're walking on a natural healing carpet. Who brought that? I mean, there's these little moments, we miss them when we are busy with our story. You know, when the mind has kidnapped you and you forget to be present. But, you know, this morning twice I walked under that jacaranda tree, and just in the right moment, this wonderful, beautiful bird came above and showered me with total flowers. And then, wow, okay, I got it. Yeah.
What happened in that course last week?
What happened in that course? Ask Adri and Samantha. Maybe I cannot say too much. I love it so much, so it may sound like you know, I only want to advertise it, but I do. Yeah. So the divine, masculine and feminine in us. And why is it great to change our focus from the mundane to the transparent, from the form to the formless, from the content to the container? That's all that's needed. And it doesn't mean the content needs to change. The content is of our mind, of our body, of our psyche, of our personality is already held in the spaciousness of who we are. So it's both welcome. And yet that tiny little shift is, is the end of your old world and the beginning of your new world. And that beginning can happen every day, every moment. Shall we try this? Can you stand up and make your left wrist available? And it's funny, the divine, masculine, feminine in a bottle, the poor guys. And then they are unembodied. So I don't know how that works, but it works.
We give it the body.
And rub it into your wrist and after you receive it.
It's too good to be true.
It is much too good to be true. Or why not? It is too true and it's good. Right, Luca? True, too true to be good. Yes. And then you can raise your arms high above the head. And just imagine you growing wings from the core of your spine to your fingertips. If you like angels, you can become an angel. And just allow the vibration of Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara. It's a very fine vibration of the masculine and feminine. And allow that to be received in all the layers of your aura as you cross your wings over at the midline of the body above the crown. Now in the opening, if you like, you can imagine you're opening to the whole universe. And in the embrace, you're embracing the inner universe because it is as vast as the outer, and there is no outer and inner, there's only one. And then you can open and embrace your third eye, your forehead center. And here you can imagine that just through that gesture, you can allow the curtain of your projections open. And anything we label that we see or experience is a projection of our own mind. Now imagine you open that curtain for a moment, and suddenly you just see reality as it is. That is choiceless awareness. We are that already. And then you can open and close your wings around the throat chakra. Another curtain that can be lifted as you open. Imagine you draw aside the curtain of all your beliefs. And I would say every thought about anything is a belief. Now what is behind? What is deeper than belief? You find space, you find source, you find the infinite, you find the formless from which all form arises. That's why through the throat arises all expression and creativity. And as the little me that made somebody out of it disappears or has a break, it is the divine creation creating through us. And then you can embrace the heart, another curtain to lift, the curtain of ideals and shoulds and should nots and all the pressure how we should be. And in the embrace, embracing our innocence, our presence, our compassion and love and silence, and the empty heart. Now just imagine that you're receiving the vibration of Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kamara deep in the silence of the empty heart. And perhaps you can feel your heart respond to this vibration. Yes, and a deep breath, and then we can open our wings and embrace the solar plexus, and then the opening, releasing and letting go all our armors and weapons through which we defend and fight. And in the embrace, we can embrace the joy of being ourselves, of being such a unique expression of the divine in form. There's no one like you in the whole universe. And then another deep breath and opening your wings around the lower belly, the second chakra. And here, just through your presence, you can allow all your past worries and wounds and hurts and emotional pains to open to the sun, to the wind, to the sky. And in the embrace, embracing your deep sensitivity, your openness, your capacity to merge and melt with yourself and with others, and your capacity to be wonderfully alone. Yeah. And then you can open your wings and embrace the physical body, the first chakra, embracing that miracle of aliveness that moves through this body, that amazing energy that can create children, the sexual energy, that is the only energy we have. When it goes out, it creates children. When it goes in, it creates Buddhas. It's the same energy. And along the legs, all the way down, connecting with Mother Earth and letting go. Now let go of everything that you just discovered that has been a veil, a curtain over the infinity of your being. So for a moment you're totally empty. You can give everything back to the earth. And what remains when everything is gone is you, the real you. And now when you come up, you can unwind your wings around each other in a backward spiral, like a symbolic unwinding of the residues of the holding fibers of the mind, until for a moment we can stand open, transparent, open to the sky, rooted in the earth. And then you can bring your palms together and your wrists close to your nostrils, taking 3 deep breaths of this fragrance into the temple of the body. Very good. And then you can gently open your eyes, and maybe you want to extend that greeting of Namaste to all the friends here. Perhaps you notice, love is that deep desire to just bless everyone. Right? To bless the whole existence. It doesn't need much. And then we can sit.
Such a nice exercise.
Did you say something?
Such a nice exercise. Love that exercise.
Oh, you love it.
Oh.
It's not an exercise. It's a pointer to your reality.
Oh, love it.
So I want to dedicate the light of the candle today to that which we are. Whatever you call it. I often love to call it freedom, because it's not the freedom from, except the freedom from the old I, which is anyway not real. But it's the freedom in itself. So I want to dedicate the light of the candle to this. I mean, look, spring, and the gardenia. You walk by and God kisses you. Sorry, I'm kind of a little bit. That's the word. I'm all loved up. It's a good diagnosis.
I've got a comment on that from Maria.
Yeah, Maria, hi.
From Stockholm.
Oh yeah, La Paz. Maria La Paz?
She says, my best friend died on Friday and the same thing happened. Autumn colors, presents were just breathtaking. As soon as the mind detached from sorrow, feeding itself. What a gift to be alive with reality as it is.
Yes. And when you kind of have only a tiny little glimpse of that which you are, you see that your friend didn't die. His body went. The love that he is in your heart. It doesn't die. The space that he is, the consciousness that he is free. Now, I don't totally know this, but I do know this deep inside. I need to die first, but then I cannot tell you. So I have a sense. Excuse me. I have a sense that this is like it. That's why, whenever somebody passed away in Pune, in Osho's ashram, we were singing and dancing and celebrating. And not just joy, but celebrating also, of course, we miss the body, we miss the personification of the being. And that can rip your heart open so deeply. So thank you, Maria. And, we include your friend who passed, and, he's everywhere. So we send him many, many blessings that he discovers this deepest let go of the body. And a little meditation. Close your eyes. Take a few deep conscious breaths. Just being here. Breath can only ever be here. just this moment. Now our senses may be experiencing sounds, the sounds of the night animals, the music. We may experience this body with all its feelings. Perhaps we may even experience the subtle fragrance of the gardenias and flowers. And very often, when our senses are touched, our attention goes to the object from where it appears to be coming, like the sound appears to be coming from outside. And yet when we turn the attention around and receive the sounds, we discover that the very hearing, the very perception of any of our senses happens inside. For example, when you, right now, as you feel the cushion or the chair or the couch where you're sitting on, and you ask yourself, where is that feeling happening? Is it happening in the couch, or in the cushion, or in me? And you will find it happens in me. Everything that can ever be perceived can only be perceived because I am the perceiver. When we're sitting here and allowing that possibility, then we may want to just naturally move towards that which we seem to have a glimpse of the true I. And maybe we find that it's before any experience. If I would not be here, there would be no experience. Now, what is this I? It cannot be a sensory experience because they keep changing. It must be that in which the experience happens. Who or what is that? Nobody could ever label it, and yet it is me. Or like Ramana Maharshi called it, the self, with a capital S. We can call it consciousness, awareness, presence, silence. many words that always point to the formless. So I must be formless. And yet being that in which every form can come and go. Now you may want to bring your relaxed attention to the heart and feel your heart. And then whatever feeling is there, allow yourself to melt under the feeling, closer to yourself. What do we find here? Space, silence, peace, stillness, formlessness. And yet everything of form or of experience arises from here. That's why we can call ourselves divine. We are the source of everything. We're going to sit in silence for a little bit. And allow the fragrance of this possibility, the depths of silence that goes deeper because we all together rest here. Let that deepen with each out-breath. Let the silence deepen with each out-breath. Let the peace that is here be more and more revealed with each out-breath. Let the love that we are be all there is. feel this peace. It's like a field that permeates all our cells and everything that we perceive. Feel that silence that is enhanced by the sounds of the night animals. Allow your relaxed attention to go or to rest as that in which every experience comes and goes. That is always here, like the sky. Clouds, weather comes and goes. The sky is here. You are the sky. Yes, and from that depth inside, you can take a deeper breath. Gently becoming aware of the body again, that the sky has a body, a form. Another deep breath, maybe a little movement in the body. Until you find a good moment to open your eyes to a completely new moment here. Very good, and a good stretch. So we can open this a little into a dialogue or into questions or into something you would like to share. And of course the friends around the world, you're also welcome. You can write a comment or a question or anything you want me to talk about, or share your own discovery. We are so unique beings, and on a bigger picture, everyone is part of the same being. Hey, Steve.
Hello again.
Hello again.
I just thought I'd share because you talked about digging in the mud today,
Yes.
and I've been digging in the mud.
Somebody's phone is still
Somebody's phone.
quite active. Whose is that? It's okay. Tell God to call later.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So I'm building a yurt,
Mm-hmm.
and it's probably 70 meters from my house,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to go across the driveway through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to get electricity and water to this thing. So we dug a trench, and this week has been an incredibly physical week of digging with a pickaxe and in the woods. Pickaxe, very, very hard to get through the dirt. Rocks, you know, and just like going and going and going.
And who is enjoying that?
I'm enjoying it. I was enjoying it. Yeah. And
Watching it.
it's been interesting because it's not like I have to get anything done.
That's right.
It's not like I'm in a hurry. It's not like I have to. It's a chore. It's not a chore. It's just. It's very, very interesting.
So that these are the beautiful, gifts in life. Maybe you think you're quite enlightened and everything is easy and fine and you're so happy. And then you're kind of in a situation where existence gives you these things. And that's a good test. Are you still free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what's been happening.
Great.
And then we had all
And
this
you have the
rain.
roof on it already?
No, the roof's not on.
Not on?
No. It's still about the trench.
Mm-hmm.
The roof's coming on
Oh.
next week. But then this massive trench filled with water.
And most of the work was in vain.
No, it's okay. But then the last 2 days I've been taking these piles of dirt, which is now mud, and shoveling it back in to this trench, which is all water. Right? So each shovel is twice as heavy. Yeah. And then my neck, which has been a problem with all this physical work, has come good. and I can barely move my arms at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sweating and like muddy.
It's
and
good, no?
It's awesome. Let's go. And I'm out cold.
Yeah. It's. I try to, to point to that which you're already kind of experiencing and seeing, so that the mind somehow really also gets it, that whatever we are presented by existence is exactly the right thing. It doesn't always look like that. No? Also the COVID thing. I mean, there's like COVID is such an interesting phenomenon because you can see so many labels of opinions of people, of even of yourself, of your own egoic structure that has endless comments, and yet it is. We don't even know what it is, because even that label, what it is different from even by different scientists. And I think it's a wonderful situation to reflect back to what is actually true or real. No? And then you find, even your trench digging through your body is actually happening. Did you find it? That your life is actually happening. It's not you doing it. You doing, when the moment you call it a chore, then you're a victim of a situation that then has to be different. And it's all mental stuff that is not real.
Yeah.
And now we are in some kind of time where this has become so much more obvious. That the only thing that is really present is presence, and that presence is not so personal, and it's so full of love. At least that was my last week.
Tell us about that.
No? But it's still here. It's just kind of reinforcement or reconfirmation that all is well. And there is a little bit of a difficulty, because when all is well, you will find it very difficult to believe somebody's suffering story. And they may hate you for it because you don't give them pity. You give them love. And they want, or you share the love that you are. And in reality, many people don't want that. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They want to be reconfirmed in the miserable sense of self, because it gives them an identity. No? And we know it. Yeah, we all know that type of identity, when you're caught in your negative mind and you're caught into your inner complaining, and you're caught in all your arguments with existence. Why is it happening to me, and why this? We all know this, so in the knowing, hopefully there comes a little bit of a compassion when somebody yes, and you cannot find the problem that the person has. Really?
It's not your job anyway.
God has a problem?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to diminish it, it's...
Yeah, it's just compassion and love,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that person's in their own level of perspective at that time, so nothing really needs to happen.
Except your roof needs to happen.
Next week it'll happen.
Yeah, and my water tank needs to fill.
Oh, right.
But when and how, I don't know.
What happened to your water tank?
It's a longer story anyway.
Okay.
I mean, for those of you who have but maybe it's good to point it out for those of you who have a water tank, a rainwater tank. There is this extra pipe that is deviating the first water that comes from the roof into a pipe that has a lid, so that you can catch the dirt.
Yeah.
The first dirt. And that lid,
Came off.
no, it was damaged by the lawnmower.
Oh.
So it was broken. So all the water that should go in the tank went into the lawn.
The lawn's happy.
The lawn is happy, but then, suddenly I'm not here and the little family has no water. And then now where to get water so quickly?
Mm-hmm.
But it's all arranged.
So I had the opposite issue.
You had
Because I'm on water tanks.
you had a ditch full of
I
water.
have 2 big water tanks. I have no town water. We had so much rain this week, and then we had a big storm 2 days ago. and we got 20 mil of water in 1 hour.
Wow.
My tanks were full. There was so much water going into my tanks, it couldn't get out the exit. So I had to unscrew those things that I'm talking about.
Right.
So no more water would go in the tanks. It was backing up in my gutters.
All right.
And then it goes in the house.
It goes in the
Well,
house.
it could. Anyway, that's Australia.
It's Australia. Yeah, but this kind of problems everybody has anywhere, you know. If it's not the water, if you don't own anything, then it's your own body or your psyche or, you know, something that needs to be fixed. Until we deeply relax into the isness of things. Yes. You need to make space for this lovely lady. Come. Hey, Samantha.
You talked about in the course that we just participated in something about breathing in the love and the inlets, the outlets, where you just, if you felt overwhelmed and you just kept opening. It just reminded me about the water tanks, where the water was going.
Yeah, the inlets, exactly. The inlets and the outlets. I think in this course I didn't do the Atisha meditation, which is one of the meditations. Oh, I promised you guys a heart meditation CD. On that CD there is the second meditation, is the Atisha meditation, which is really for all of us very, very recommendable, because it's the opposite of what we learn in New Age. You know, in New Age you learn you breathe in, and then in the out breath you let go of suffering. You know? And that's a misunderstanding, because then there's still a you that thinks it can get rid of something. No? So the division continues.
Yeah.
And in this great master Atisha, he found just what many of us found. Rather than breathing out suffering, you recognize that your heart is actually, on the surface it's a feeling thing, yeah? It's a feeling side of the being, but deeper it is space, it's emptiness. And instead of breathing out suffering, you breathe in suffering and you receive it into the emptiness of your being, and naturally it goes. It just dissolves in the empty sky. And then you breathe out blessings and love, because that's who we are. But I interrupted you. There was more for you to say, no?
No, I just want to share that my whatever in me experience with you and the love and intimacy that we did last week.
Yeah.
Whatever's in me, I feel the closest that I've felt to. I don't know what it is, but
I mean, it's visible. I just look at you two. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible.
It still is.
It still is incredible.
It is incredible.
It is, and yeah, for me, just individually as well as meeting Adri,
yeah,
my partner there, and
you know, the guy is just a situation.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yes, you know. And what a beautiful situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I've never felt so close to something in myself.
To yourself, yeah. And maybe there's not even closeness anymore. Maybe that's just
I was wondering
being myself,
yeah.
rather than, the closeness still describes a little distance. Close to myself.
Mm-hmm. The essence of one's being. Do we have an essence?
Close your eyes for a moment. It's a fantastic question. Huh? Just close your eyes for a moment. Just let yourself come, when the mind says, I come close. I come close to myself. Then there still seems to be a distance.
There still seems to be a space.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now close your eyes and be that space, because the moment you are that space, then there's no more closeness. Is that easy?
That's easy.
It's
There's
very
nothing.
easy.
There's
It's very. That's right. There is nothing graspable, and yet I am. And the amazing thing that we cannot explain, I cannot explain that, but it becomes visible. It looks like nothing, but it's the inner light that begins to become visible. Everybody, if you remember the last 3 days, everyone started to look 10 years younger. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now how come? Because that which we are doesn't age. Space cannot age. Only form can age. Consciousness cannot age. And the mystery is, what we call enlightenment from that position, is that it becomes tangible for people who are close to that inside. No?
But can't consciousness expand?
Does it have? Does it have to expand? Is it limited?
No, it doesn't have to expand.
Well, is it limited so it can expand if it wants?
Is it
Check. Check inside. Is that which, this is for all of you, if that which is actually behind all experience, that which is aware, can that expand? Can the sky, can the universe expand?
Infinite.
It is already infinite.
It already is.
That's right. That little step is the end of all seeking. The moment we still look for expansion, we are in the duality. Okay, I'm small and something needs to expand. But if you really inquire, that which is aware, can that expand? It's already full expansion. It's full, boundaryless, endless, limitless. Don't believe me.
I don't.
Good.
That's extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Yeah. And what I find the miracle again and again and again is that it is inherent in everyone, and you just need to scratch a little.
Yeah. And it's not that scary.
And it's not that scary, and it's not, it's not any becoming. Yeah. And for the people who don't know what I'm talking about the process in this group that wasn't even a process. We didn't do it.
What the group is, because you never mentioned what the course
The course was the Art of Love and Intimacy for couples. And what I find so fascinating, which is kind of expanded beyond the group, everyone if you ask, what do you want? Says the same thing. I want love, I want freedom, I want connection, I want the sense of belonging, I want safety, I want joy, I want peace. And just being there with a few little guidances just to keep the mind busy, that it feels it's doing something, everybody started to disappear as a separate sense of self and became love. That's the best way I can explain it. Yeah? And that has become so contagious. Yeah? And then, the people, the staff, Shesha, the girl who takes care of the place, she was beaming. She said, we want you back. Well, we didn't do anything. We were just kind of like a flower of love unfolding. I mean, the nature does it all the time. No? And the trust. I mean, I wish everybody would do this course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because it's such a simple non-process. It's just a being, and allowing the being to be reflected in a clearer and clearer mirror of love. Now, is that difficult? No, because we are already love.
The other thing I experienced, though, with you was the polarity of love and death.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I just went from one to the other to.
It appears like a polarity, but it's actually how I would describe it. It's the death of the old sense of self that we have defined ourselves with, which is for the psyche, for the ego, for the personality, life-threatening. It's true.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you find, oh, it's not so bad. All that's left is love. So that's the invitation to you all that are watching this. Whatever you're afraid of, that's not so bad. Die.
It's great. Yeah,
I don't know how to put that in words, but somehow it, it's such
it's all the armor. It's that. It's that chakra and allowing the armor to just fall away. Which is certainly whatever it is in me that I felt it.
You felt it.
Yeah.
You knew it.
Yes.
I think it's even deeper than a feeling. It's a knowing. Oh, I know this, because we all know this. And it's forgotten. Thank you. I'm so happy you were with us, and you are with us. Come. Hey. Yeah. Tell me your name again.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that conversation was somewhat lofty.
Very lofty, no?
This conversation is going to bring it back to
Great.
the mundane of digging ditches.
Yeah. Very good. Bring it on.
There's been a lot of ditch digging going on in my life.
Yeah.
But the digging has been in intense physical pain. Over the past years, there's been a deeper and deeper understanding of emotional pain and the projection that goes with emotional pain, the history that goes, the story that goes, and actually produces more suffering.
Yes. Can you relate to that? This is really important. It's like that habit produces more suffering.
Very much so,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, over the past 2 months, what's been experienced is a relentless, almost totally debilitating physical pain. And nothing has undone me more for probably a decade than this experience. Any sort of presence of isness, of I am, has felt
Far away.
completely untouchable.
Yeah.
And I know that that's the first time I used the word, I know. It is known that even in the physical pain, there's a lot of story, there's a lot of poor me, there's a lot of story that goes with that. But once the story is recognized, one is still left with this incredible thing that would not let me sleep, would keep me in bed in the morning, would not let me move. And so what I'd like some help with, I suppose, some guidance around, is how one maneuvers through this intense physicality, this total embracing of me, my mind, if you will, because it is so present that...
Is it present now?
No, in the last 3 days, I've experienced huge relief. So what brought it on is a mystery. What kept it going is a mystery. And beautifully, why it has relieved itself somewhat now is also a mystery.
Yes.
But the curiosity in me is really, how does one maintain presence? Maintain a position of, I am not this, when it seems to, it just hurts me so much that me and I just blend. I doesn't exist anymore, actually. Well, of course it does. It can't not. But
well, maybe that I that identified itself with all the suffering, all the pain, all the agony, maybe that actually doesn't exist anymore. And actually it has...
my mind.
Okay, maybe it's how we label things.
Yes.
Let's look at it from a different place. What you are describing right now, the first thing is it here now? Is the pain here now? You say no. So you've been telling us something that has happened, and maybe there's an apprehension because it may come again. Who knows? We don't know. No? But what is more important, you ask me how. Maybe there's not even a how, because the how looks for a strategy to change what is into something better, which is which is what the ego does. No? Yes. The ego is never at ease or happy with what is now. No? So rather than looking for a strategy, one of the most powerful ways to be directly, immediately free of the suffering of it is not to change the suffering, is not to... It is simply a direct recognition. I can only speak of it, I can even only think of it, because there must be someone, something that is aware of it. Yeah, you couldn't tell me the story without you being aware of the story.
Quite.
Right? close your eyes for a moment, and now just from that inner perspective, there's the story and a very real experience in the body, and then there must be something closer to you that is aware of it. What is that? Which is the famous question, who are you?
What is that?
What is that?
No words.
There's no words, and yet it's very real.
Very.
Very real.
Mm-hmm.
And does that, which is a word, was that ever in pain?
No.
Can that be in pain?
No.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So through the experiences that I've had of emotional pain,
Yeah.
I can see this
Yeah.
that you're talking now.
Yeah.
From this more recent experience of physical pain,
Yeah.
I couldn't find I couldn't find this
You couldn't
space.
find the awareness.
I couldn't find presence. I couldn't find the isness, as Muji might say.
Mm.
And so my question is, there's a difference in physical pain and emotional.
Very, very big, because
Yes.
we are, this is probably our deepest identification, that I am the body.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And one can say that we're equally responsible for creating our physical pain as we are our emotional pain.
That's
Arguably.
That's a tricky belief.
Yes,
no?
okay. Arguably. But my experience was that I couldn't find that space.
Well,
The intensity of what was
Yeah.
moving in my
Yeah.
body
Yeah.
was all-consuming.
yeah,
Sometimes 24 hours a day.
yeah,
And being unable to even get a taste or a glimpse of I am, or isness, or whatever word one might use to describe this space. And I would make enormous effort, I'm not sure, but to allow the pain, to meditate on the pain, to focus on the pain. I drew a triangle from the groin to my hip to my knee and allowed it.
and no trick helped.
The pain was pervasive,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I cannot give you a direct
I
answer
understand. yes.
answer to that, but it reminds me. I think I shared that in one of the satsangs, but I think you were not there. It reminds me of my early days as a doctor. I was working in emergency medicine, and we were mainly working with pain patients.
Mhm.
Incredible pain, cancer pain, all sorts of pain, bone pain, like unbearable pain.
Mhm.
And at that time, my superior doctor, he was a very beautiful guy. He was a hypnosis teacher, so he was like the doctors that were working with him. We learned hypnosis and the guidance of the. You're familiar with the idea of conscious and unconscious mind, no? And basically the unconscious is 100 times stronger than the conscious, so this unconscious will try to keep you in struggle with pain, because it's kind of an automatic mechanism. Because what you're asking is, how can the conscious mind find a way to out of this pain? No? and it can't because the unconscious keeps the grip. And we had this very simple guidance, first putting the patient into deep trance relaxation. I don't know if anybody had a hypnosis session. You basically go into a deep trance, in a trance where the conscious mind is not there anymore. So it looks like unconscious. No? And then we were giving the suggestion now, wherever the center of the pain is, allow it to float freely like a cloud in the infinite sky. And more of these suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
And we use this also for massive operations. You know, before the operation, putting the patient into deep hypnosis. And we only needed to use a quarter of the anesthetics than somebody that didn't have the hypnosis. So even in a hypnotic trance, supporting the unconscious mind to give into the truth of who we are, which is pure space.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it today. At that time I had no idea what we were doing. I thought it's amazing that it works. You know? So again, when you ask me what could I do, you cannot do anything directly. And maybe when you're totally consumed by it, then that's what is. And miraculously you survived it. And you realized it now, at least it's not here. So there's something that comes and goes, and that when it was there, you so much, I understand, everybody understands, we so much wanted to get rid of it. And in that moment, perhaps the attention on that which is aware is just impossible because too much. And yet, you couldn't report if there wouldn't be an awareness that says, oh, now it's gone, or now it's not so strong, or now it's stronger.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And if there's any practice, then it would be the moment you're aware of awareness again, rest there. Give that all the attention.
Yes, yes.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And then, and somehow then immediately you realize, wait a minute, okay, my body is in absolute agony, and I'm free.
Yes, that was also experienced.
That was also experienced. Yeah.
But in the middle of that,
I know, in the middle of that.
there's this, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And you need to allow the fuck too.
Yeah, but that would continuously bring me back into this me, my, mine.
Yeah. But isn't it incredible how the infinite works?
It is.
Yes. It gives you this. It gives you, Steve, a trench full of water.
Ditches, yes.
No? It gives all sorts of, and who knows why, but obviously it's always the right gift for the, to find the doorway to the true self through this gift. No? And my sense is looking into your eyes. You found it many times. It's there. It's clear.
Yes, with no idea what the gift is.
That's nothingness. Pure nothingness. But even that is not true. And I'm so happy that it's not there now. So,
this one is true.
so celebrate this.
Yes.
just celebrate it. It's another gift. Oh, the pain is one gift and the other is another gift. I mean, maybe we don't see the gift in pain. Then you can say, fuck.
Loudly.
Loudly. You can even make a person out of it and bang a cushion and scream and says, why me, God, you know. Even Jesus did that. You know.
I thought of him on the cross there, why have thou forsaken me?
Yeah, exactly.
Many
times,
yes.
I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the eternal story.
Yes.
And our ego will battle to the last breath.
True. Probably put me on the couch here.
And then, who knows? Who knows when we suddenly slip into the infinite and realize, oh my God, it was always here. It was always here, just hiding, you know.
This was one of the most frustrating things, though, is there's a clear knowing of that always here.
Yeah. But then
under this mask, is totally
impossible.
invisible.
Yeah.
Just untouchable, unreachable.
But wait a minute, who has seen the invisible? Who has seen that it's invisible?
On the other side of the experience.
Yeah.
But in the experience,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yes, no,
I understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the main reason to bring this up is that this is the only thing that's been discovered in me that creates that invisibility, creates that untouchability, because it is always there. And every day that passes, that becomes more of my experience.
Right. Yeah.
But in this situation, it was like...
So then, obviously, existence points us to these pockets that where it's still invisible. It just points us there.
Invisible, but knowing that is. Yes.
And that's the paradox. We know already, and yet it's invisible. Yes. That's why the Sufis, I love this metaphor of the Sufis, they call the beloved, beloved is always hidden under at least 7 veils. And, we open one veil and we have a glimpse of the beloved and we know she is there. And then the veil closes and we still know she is there, but we don't see. And then another veil opens. I've seen her.
But for a long time I haven't experienced the veil being so thick that I forget the knowing.
Yeah. Well, existence has its timing, it says, and this is now, this is the Jesus in you.
Incredible propensity to make it more complicated.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And many blessings that you stay pain-free. That's the simple wish.
Thank you.
Hey.
I've just come up because I like sitting here.
Oh, good.
If that's okay, I just wanted to sit here for a moment.
Totally okay. Totally okay. You see now when we're sitting here, there's so many things that pass through, no? And there's something that doesn't pass through.
No.
Or to call it a thing is again the wrong word. And the attraction to sitting here is basically your attraction to that in which everything passes through. And sometimes it's helpful, to sit with somebody and get a sense of this reflection.
It's beautiful. There's lots happening, there's lots to say, but
I'm glad you're not so much interested anymore into the story about it, because it's all happening in this as this.
yeah, it's just thanks for this. All the stories I could tell. It's just thank you.
I don't know who said that. I heard somebody say that, and I can relate to that gratitude is somehow the absolute highest state of presence you can be in. Total gratitude. No? Even gratitude for the devastation, gratitude for the heartbreak, gratitude for the impossible. Very good. Come here. Yes, beloveds. One of the things about being who you are is that time stops. There's no more time. Suddenly, it's 9. So, thank you so much for being here, for making the space possible that we share here. It's much more than just the words we share. It's the power of the Sangha that supports us to rest more in that which is true. And thank you for the friends all around the world. Somehow on that plane there is no distance. There's no separation. So thank you for being with us. And yeah, the coming Fridays, if everything works well, we continue with the satsangs on Fridays. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening. There's tea and a little bit of a sweeties outside. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you.